GameMasters here, and I am in the Biblioplex, and we are going to take a look at Strixhaven, A Curriculum of Chaos. Today's video will cover our first look, an overview of the book itself, with future videos going into a deeper dive with more in-depth and detail. That said, let's dive in. You guys, of course, have seen the covers in my past video, but now it's time to crack open the book. And you know me, I got to start with the disclaimer first. It reads, "A degree from Strixhaven University does not provide protection from magic missiles, fireballs, freezing spheres, or any other deleterious effects spellcasters might generate. If you create deleterious effects, Strixhaven kindly requests you refrain from invoking any names, symbols, or other references to the university should you feel yourself in a confrontation. Strixhaven University does not take responsibility for any injury of any nature sustained in the course of anything, magical or otherwise." We have over here the table of contents, which will provide you a sneak peek of what all can be found in Strixhaven. Chapter 1 covers an overview of student life and studies at Strixhaven and introduces the various elements of each of the 5 colleges found within Strixhaven University. Chapter 2 goes over creating your character as a student at Strixhaven and also introduces the Owlin race, as well as 5 different backgrounds and new feats, magic items, and spells. Chapter 3, and this is where it's going to get fun, Chapter 3, 4, 5, and 6 is a campaign that takes your character from level 1 to level 10 and provides you all the details that you're going to need as you progress in your studies. Each chapter covers roughly a year's worth of studies, so when you begin at Chapter 3, for example, your character will be level 1. By the time you start at Chapter 6, your character should be right around level 8. Chapter 3 also covers special rules for campus life, stuff like exams, relationships, jobs, and extracurricular activities. Now, real fast, if you're enjoying this video, please give it a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it, and it helps me get this video out in front of more eyes. And feel free to subscribe to it as well. I've got a lot more content to produce. I thank you kindly. Chapter 7 is all about stat blocks. Here you're going to find stats for students, faculty members, and various creatures that can be found in and around Strixhaven. Before you can begin your academic endeavors at Strixhaven, you first have to go through orientation. In essence, orientation lets you know that Strixhaven is a university with 5 colleges. It's an academy of mages, but that does not mean that non-mages can't enroll. Strixhaven is... the best way to explain this. You know how Ravenloft has its domains of dread and how the Feywild has its domains of delight? Well, while not exactly a domain, Strixhaven is designed to be plopped down into almost any given setting, or it can be its own self-contained domain. I'm personally going to call it a domain of learning. Historically, Strixhaven comes from Magic the Gathering, and in that particular collectible card game, 5 Elder Dragons ruled over each of the 5 colleges. In this Dungeons & Dragons version, that's not any different. You have Velochimus, I'm never going to be able to pronounce this, Velomachus Lorehold, which presides over the Lorehold College. You have Galazeth Prismari, which looks over the Prismari College. Shadrix Silverquill is over the Silverquill College. Beladros Witherbloom presides over the Witherbloom College. And Tanazir Quandrix looks over the Quandrix College. The Biblioplex rests in the heart of the 5 colleges and is a massive monumental library. Chapter 1. As mentioned, this goes into detail as to what a student can expect as far as student life goes while going to Strixhaven. From meeting faculty and staff, this book refers to staff as administration, to other students, to discovering mascots, as well as describing in detail what each of the various colleges can offer a student. We'll go into much deeper detail on those colleges in future videos. Chapter 2 discusses character options and guides you as you create your character. Chapter 2 discusses character options and guides you as you create your character. Chapter 3 discusses character options and guides you as you create your character. Chapter 4 discusses character options and guides you as you create your character. Chapter 5 discusses character options and guides you as you create your character. Chapter 6 discusses character options and guides you as you create your character. Chapter 7 discusses character options and guides you as you create your character. Chapter 8 discusses character options and guides you as you create your character. Chapter 9 discusses character options and guides you as you create your character. Chapter 10 discusses character options and guides you as you create your character. Chapter 11 discusses character options and guides you as you create your character. Chapter 12 discusses character options and guides you as you create your character. Chapter 13 discusses character options and guides you as you create your character. This chapter also introduces the new Owlin race and also covers new Strixhaven backgrounds. Again, we'll go into a deep dive on those backgrounds in a future video, but I'll tease the Lorehold student. In essence, you knew from a young age that you wanted to be a student at Strixhaven, specifically that you wanted to join the Lorehold College. Here, you can see the spells that one gains by being a student of Lorehold. Chapters 3, 4, 5, and 6, as mentioned, covers the campaign designed to take you up to level 10. Now, I'm going to try to avoid going over too much about chapters 4, 5, and 6 because I don't want to spoil anything for players that have a DM that is going to be taking them through this campaign. And I think that's one of the main complaints that I have about this book. It's appearing to me that it is designed more for characters as well as DMs, as opposed to being just specifically for characters or only for DMs. True, the DM can dish out the information to the players as that information is needed, but that's spoon feeding, and I just don't see this book as having been set up for only DMs. There's too much lore and player options listed for it to be confined for the DM's eyes only. Then they throw the campaign information in, which is most certainly not for players' eyes. I don't know, I'm finding myself conflicted here. Anyways, Chapter 3 goes over what happens as your character advances in level, and the interesting thing here is that you gain experience as you reach story milestones as opposed to defeating monsters. You'll still get experience for doing that, but that's not the focus. One thing that is super neat is the Strixhaven Memories. It's a report card of sorts. Here you can track your relationships with other students, which mainly has an impact only as you move through the campaign, as well as track your grades, jobs, and extracurricular activities. A couple of the jobs you can get here are working for groundskeeping or at the tavern, and again we'll deep dive into this in a future video, and I'll explain kind of what the benefits and bonuses are of working a job. As for extracurricular activities, you can join the Play Actors Drama Guild or the Dead Languages Society. The extracurricular section is, again, pretty neat in what it provides, but again, future video. Chapter 7 goes into detail about stat blocks for other students, monsters, and other things that walk the halls of Strixhaven University. And yes, it does detail the stats for the 5 Elder Dragons. I'll sneak in Beladros Witherbloom for you. Did you catch that? Don't worry. I'll cover him in a, yeah, you guessed it, future video. Lastly, we have the campus map. This is a small one-page version, but there is also a larger fold-out map that you can perf out. It appears that the School of Magic is in session. What are you most looking forward to learning about? Let me know in the comments below, and until next our paths cross, may you not get an unexcused absence.